To Gaea, Earth, the mother of all. I will sing of well-founded Gaea, mother of all, eldest of all beings. She feeds all the creatures that are in the worlds, all that go upon the goodly land, and all that are in the paths of the seas, and all that fly. All these are fed of her store. Through you, O Queen, men are blessed in their children and blessed in their harvests, and to you it belongs to give means of life to mortal men and to take it away. Happy is the man whom you delight to honor. He has all things abundantly. His fruitful land is laden with corn, his pastures are covered with cattle, and his house is filled with good things. Such men rule orderly in their cities of fair women. Great riches and wealth follow them. Their sons exult with ever-fresh delight, and their daughters in flower-laden bands play and skip merrily over the soft flowers of the field. Thus it is with those whom you honor, O holy goddess, bountiful spirit. Hail, mother of the gods, wife of starry Oranos, freely bestow upon me for this my song substance that cheers the heart. Homeric hymn 30 to Gaea, translation by Evelyn-White. Greetings, friends, and welcome to another one of our free Friday community classes. We do these every single Friday right here on YouTube, covering a whole variety of topics, mostly centered around plant spirit work, but occasionally we go off into the weeds, pun intended, just a little bit, like we're going to do this week, and talk about the Earth Mother, or the Land Goddess. And I bring this up because as I have started to share a little bit more through Patreon and through blogs and the social medias and all of that about some of my personal spiritual work with a Proto-Indo-European pantheon and Indo-European paganism and Neo-pagan druidry, folks have started to ask some really cool questions, and it's gotten a little tricky figuring out, do I lump everything together? Do I create a second channel about sort of the modern expression of Indo-European paganism, or do we just keep doing what we're doing, which is what I think we're going to do. So a lot of the questions that have been coming up from folks is where to start. You talk about these deities that are intricately connected to nature and the rhythms of nature and the ways of the world and the cycles. This is the beauty of our ancestral pagan ways, is that we are not transcendentalists, we are not escapists, we are animists and relatively hardline polytheists, meaning that we lean further into nature, further into the world, rather than denying it or seeing it as illusory or seeing it as a trap. All of that philosophy is late, even within the originally Indo-European pagan cultures that now carry that philosophy. It's late, right? We'll get into that maybe in another class. So there is one deity among all deities that one could approach who is the most accessible to all of us and potentially holds the most important cult among the infinite, meaning since time immemorial, and for those of us in this moment, wherever you are, and that is the person of the Earth Goddess. Now, some traditions view the Earth Goddess as one individual person, one individual spirit, one goddess who is overseeing the well-being of the planet that we call home. She is the wisdom and the power, the management and the protection of this place that we call home, the Earth. Other folks experience the Earth Goddess more localized, that maybe there are many, many Earth Goddesses who rule specific landmarks or specific places or territories, whether they're human constructed territories or naturally occurring. It really doesn't matter a ton, and the gnosis of how she manifests in your life will come with practice. What's important is that we, in some way, bring the cultic practices of the Earth Mother, the Earth Goddess, the Land Goddess, into our spiritual work. For those of us doing very intensive plant spirit work, this is really easy for most of us because we acknowledge the fact that it is in the land that the mysteries happen. It is to the Earth Goddess that we offer the seeds of our medicinal plants. It is from the body of the Earth Goddess that we receive those medicinal plants at harvest time. We understand that It is the lifeblood, the power, the vital force of the land that both nourishes the seed in embryonic form and gives birth to it in the form of leaves, stems, fruits, berries, all of that. So when it comes to plant work, there is perhaps no better deity to align oneself to than some iteration of an earth goddess. Now, you can certainly approach her in a very broad spectrum way. I started this particular class out with the Homeric hymn to Gaea. It's a beautiful prayer and poem, what we might call briocht. I do think there's some room, by the way, in this particular prayer, and when I say it on my own, I wanted to honor the translator by giving it exactly as it's translated. But when I work with the Homeric hymns personally, I take out or change a lot of the verbiage that is really gender specific and gender role specific, because it doesn't work for me. And it seems to be just fine for the gods. They don't really care. So that being said, that is a really beautiful prayer and poem to use as a gateway into understanding the person of the Earth Mother. It's a very accessible, it's a very open practice prayer. The Homeric hymns are incredibly beautiful, and they tell us so much about the person of the gods that we want to create a relationship with. So the Earth Mother is the mysterious womb from which all life emerges. Obviously, you and I emerged from the womb of our respective mothers, but it is through the providence of the land that our mothers' bodies were fed and nourished with the materials they needed to allow our bodies to grow inside of them. And just as the plants, the sprouts emerge from the land as we emerge from the womb, right? So there's a resonance of motherhood there. And while I do say Earth Mother a lot, I want to invite folks, especially those of us who are already doing work with an Earth Goddess, an Earth Mother, to try to not limit the person of the Earth Goddess, of the Earth Mother, to motherhood. Don't put her in a box of motherhood. There's more to her than just giving life, making babies, right? So there's an invitation there to let her be the full person that she is. I like the Homeric hymn because it also mentions that as much as the Earth Goddess Gaia gives life, she also gives death. That she is the womb from which all life emerges into this world, but she is also the dark tomb into which all life returns as it returns to the land, whether we're burying folks or cremating them, or plants and animals are passing onto the land, and through compost, they are melting back into the land. So she is womb and tomb. There's more to her than just being a mother. It's a huge part of her person, but not all of her person. So we also should be aware that much of the earth mystery is held and protected, guarded by the person of the Earth Goddess, so that when we approach her with devotion, with prayer, with reciprocity in the form of offerings, she is the one who very well can initiate us into the secrets of what happens below the land. That when we turn that medicinal seed into the soil and wait a few months and suddenly the sprout comes up, what's happening between? In other words, what's happening between life and death? What's happening between death and life? She holds these mysteries. She holds the mysteries of compost. She holds the mysteries of mycelium. She holds the mysteries of root and fruit. She holds the mysteries of the cycles of the land. We've talked about before that while a lot of traditions look to astronomical events like solstices and equinoxes to figure out where they are in a sacred calendar, you can also just look outside and say, okay, how is the land around me celebrating? What is the land around me doing right now? And the reason why that's powerful is because we are actually gazing onto the physical form, the body of the Earth Mother as she inhabits land, to see what she's doing. And then we align ourselves to that, right? We follow suit. So the cool thing about this particular deity, this particular person, is that she tends to be the most universal and the most accessible. So whether or not you follow a particular hearth culture, a particular tradition, a particular spiritual path or religion, not so important, because the Earth Mother, Mother Nature, is approachable to everybody. We all have this intuitive pull and this intuitive connection to her. So even if you're following an established tradition that doesn't work with an Earth Goddess or an Earth Mother, you can bring her in, no problem. You can use any of the sacred names that she prefers from any open practices, such as the Greek and the Roman, and pretty much any of the Indo-European ones are generally considered open practice. You can just call her Earth Mother. You can call her Mother. You can call her by the names of landmarks where you live, because this is where it gets really interesting. Wherever you are right now, you are in the presence of a unique manifestation of her person. Okay, so I am here where I live in the high desert. It's in the middle of winter right now. All of the mountains that surround me are covered in snow. The skies are gray. All the plants are sleeping except for the evergreens, which maintain a little bit of their verdant color and power throughout the dark months. And so when I walk out into the world that I live in, I'm able to understand something of the personality of the Earth Mother as she is here. Where you are may be totally different thing. You might be somewhere very flat. You might be somewhere very hot or very dry. She is a multifaceted person, as are all the gods, all the deities. And there's an invitation here to engage with her as she shows herself to you where you are. This is radically animistic. It's radically land-based spirituality, meaning that instead of, again, projecting our devotions out there somewhere to some far off, far removed deity, we are leaning further into how deity manifests right here. What color is the soil in your garden? This is the color of the skin of the great goddess. What plants grow around you? These are the children, these are the blessings she sends to you, to your community, to your household. How do the seasons look where you live? Again, for me, the land goddess right now is sleeping. She's resting. So I like to imagine that she's covered up with a blanket of white snow, slumbering, regaining her energy after a year of growth and harvest, only to wake in the spring to do it all again, right? And of course, within many of the extant pagan traditions, we have lots of stories and lores that explain why we have the seasons, when the goddess goes to sleep, when she wakes up, if she does that at all. Sometimes that the goddess is spending half of the year in our world and half of the year in the underworld, and it's when she's in the underworld that we experience winter, right? Because she's not here per se. So this is all about you going out into the world that you live in, the world that surrounds you, and really engaging with the form, the function, and the presentation of the Earth Mother as she shows up for you. We can use these big generalizations, again, the Homeric hymns or whatever, to start to understand the personality of the Earth Mother, as mystics and seers have done for thousands of years. We can create a little bit of a foundation, get to know her a little bit. But the seed hits the soil when we go outside and we engage directly with her and say, oh, I live at the base of this mountain range. Have I ever really stopped and looked at this mountain and felt what it feels like to gaze upon it, to be in its presence? What is the energy of this place? What is the pattern, the texture, the colors, the emotions, the feelings that come up for me? And this is your segue into a personal relationship with the Earth Mother, with the goddess of land. So, big invitations here, big inspiration to even, again, I'm in the dead of winter here, it's cold outside, but still, there are ways that we can go out and honor her and relate to her and connect to her, and best to do it during these dark months to start nourishing and gestating this relationship, so that in the spring, when the snow melts and the frost recedes and life emerges from the soil as if from the darkness of a womb, we already have this beautiful relationship established, and we can really lean in, kind of starting with the cycle of life. So If you are working in any capacity with the Earth Mother in general, or a specific Earth Goddess, I would love to hear about how you do that, how it plays into your work with the plant spirits particularly. This is all very interesting. If you want access to our advanced classes and deeper courses, come over and see us on Patreon. And until next week, I look forward to seeing you soon.